Hi, this is Dana with Designs by Dana, and this is going to be your gauge swatch and for the pattern for the lace cardigan. Um, you're going to need to do about 4 rows and then measure, and then that will give you to tell you what close to what needle size you need to use to do this pattern. So you're going to first start out by chaining 22, and I would say use a middle size needle like a G or H, because this pattern was done with a J. That person's tension was a J. So you could start with a J, you could start with one down or one or two down if you're tight, and one up if you're a loose crocheter. So do your 22 and stop the tape, and then when you're ready, we'll do the first row. There's only 2 rows, and you're going to do the second row a couple of times, and then you'll measure. Okay, so the first row is you're going to skip 2 chains, and that first 2 chains is going to count as a double crochet, and so you're going to double into the next 4. So when you're skipping the 2, you're going to double crochet into the next 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, then after you do the 4, you're going to skip 2 chains, and you're going to double in the next 4. Skip 2 and then double in the next 4. And you're going to chain 2 and double in the next 4. You're going to skip 2 chains and double in the next 3. So by now, down to the last one, you're going to do 2 doubles, which is an increase in the last one. This is going to be a little bit similar to what you're doing, but they just kind of cut this short so that you can get your gauge. Now that's row 1. So now we're going to chain up 3, and we're going to turn our work, and we're going to double in the first stitch. That's an increase. And then we're going to double into the next 3 stitches. And then you're going to skip 2 stitches, and you're going to double crochet into the next 3 stitches. Or maybe that's wrong. Let me back up, because my husband walked in here. Let's go back to the beginning. The beginning is you're going to do a double in the first stitch. You chain 3, a double in the first one, and you're going to do 3 doubles. Okay? And then you're going to skip 2 stitches, and you're going to double into the next 3. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, double into the next 3. And then you're going to see that chain 2 space. You're going to put a double crochet, 2 chains, and a double crochet in that chain 2 space. Okay, then you're going to double into the next 3 stitches, which are doubles. So you're going to double, double, and double. And you're going to skip 2 and double into the next 3. 1, 2, 3. And then in the top of that turning chain, you're going to put 2 doubles. Okay? Actually, it tells you to do 2 or 3 or 4 more rows. Normally, I don't need to do that many. The gauge for this pattern is 1 pattern repeat equals 10 stitches or 3 inches. So with the height, they're saying you got to go up at least 3 inches so that you can get 10 stitches in it, because they need to know that that's where they're doing the gauge at. So they're saying 10 stitches equals 3 inches. And so what I would do was I would count out, I'd start in the middle here, and then I would count out 10 stitches. So here's 4, and here's 4, that's 8, and these 2 in the middle make 10 stitches. So then I would measure that. And if that measurement is anywhere near 3, then the needle I'm using, the hook I'm using, is a good hook for this pattern. So let's see if I can find my measurement. So I take my little measure and I hook it at the end, and I hook it over to the end of there. And if I was to turn this around and show you, you'll see that it's exactly 3 inches for me. And like I told you, well, in the pattern I tell them, I already know what my gauge is for this pattern because I've done it so many times. But those 10 stitches, here's 3 right here. Those 10 stitches represent the 3 inches that are required for this pattern. So if yours are more or less, then you have to change your hook size until you get it right. So you would take this loose, rewind, do it again with another hook. So if it was, say if you measured it and you had 2 inches, you know you got to go up in your size of hook. And so once you find the right size, you might have to do this 2 or 3 times. And then once you start learning gauge, that little time is really, 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 really important, because that's going to affect your pattern when you do it. So like I said, with this particular one, I already knew what my gauge size was, and I used a eye hook. And even though the pattern was done with a, what did I say, a J? 6 mm, size 6. So that's how you do gauge. So I just gave you the pattern, rewind it, rewind the tape, do these 2 rows, take your measuring tape, count out 10 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and those 2 chains are part of the stitch for this pattern. So that right there, those are 10 stitches. And if you measure from point A to point B, you should get 3 inches. And if you don't, if you're just a little off, that's fine. But if you're a lot off, you need to change your hook size. I would start somewhere in the middle with my hook, a G or H, if this is your first time doing it. And I hope that's helpful. And if I could be of more help, just hit me up, and I'd be more than happy to help you though. So now you'll need to find the lace cardigan done by me, and you can go ahead and start your pattern. Enjoy.